les fascinaba ir de noche en una moto sin luces por los peligrosos caminos del cañón en lo que él llamaba paseos endemoniados. Una noche Keanu no controló su moto y cayó mal, pero eso no fue lo único.
Several times between him and the road where he's with scars on his knees, scars all over, and been hospitalized a number of times.
Keanu siguió asistiendo a las audiciones y obtuvo el rol de un joven amante en la versión fílmica de Dangerous Liaisons.
I think it's during Dangerous Liaisons that Keanu began to realize his ambition of serious acting. He was with some heavyweights in that.
Estuvo con Uma Thurman, John Malkovich y Glenn Close.
And you know, Keanu, I think Dangerous Liaisons was his second movie. So I feel like kind of a proud mom, you know, because I knew him when he was just starting.
I remember the first time I walked on the set of Dangerous Liaison, they gave me my shoes that morning. I didn't have 1 minute of rehearsal. And they're like, okay, you're going to walk in a scene with John Malkovich, and you're going to come in, and now these are props you've never had before, because we didn't have them to give you. And you have to do this thing, and I'm like, shoes I've never been in. I'm in Versailles. I'm like, okay, I'm not ready. Help me.
La crítica aclamó el film y las actuaciones estelares, pero no fue amable con Keanu Reeves.
Keanu's often been called wooden, and as if he hasn't shown that much emotion on screen and doesn't have much range as an actor.
People say, well, he's wooden sometimes, or there's a questioning of his intelligence. We were sitting in a hotel room in a hospitality suite, and he hadn't come in. I was watching a football game. We sat and watched it. He knew that I was from down the street from where he grew up. We both grew up in the same room. And I just found it interesting that when he sat down, he had a very well-thumbed copy of a book on Alexander the Great. And it made me think, I mean, a dumb guy, a guy who's not well-read or not interested in things, doesn't carry around a book on Alexander the Great, period. So I asked him, I said, does it bother you that people perceive you as being dumb? And he just looked at me and said, would that bother you?
Keanu quería ser considerado un actor serio, pero su rol en Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure no lo ayudaba. Orion Pictures compró los derechos y estrenó el film a mediados del 89.
Oh, no, man, I'm the one who makes the googly faces. This is a crash course on the difference between Bill and Ted. This is Ted, this is Bill.
Aún con un humor simplón, esta comedia recaudó muy buena taquilla.
We're brilliant. Yeah. People don't catch all of the character work that we put into these things. People, like, they look at the characters and they just see two dumb guys. They don't see all the nuance that we've spent. What are we doing wrong, then? We're just bad actors, dude.
En el film, Bill y Ted tocaban el grupo The Wild Stallions. Luego del estreno, Keanu formó su propio grupo con sus amigos Brett Rose y Bob Benhouse. El grupo se llamó Dog Stars.
I had a jam band. We started to play a couple of shows and kind of kept going.
Video is a creative outlet. It's a way of leveling things a little bit. He's part of a band. He's one piece of an ensemble. He doesn't have to carry everything.
El grupo tocaba en clubs locales, pero Keanu mantuvo su trabajo habitual. En el 91 Reeves se unió a Patrick Swayze en Point Break, la historia de unos surfistas ladrones de banco.
I sort of feel a kindred spirit with him. You know, he feels like a brother, and that's sort of where the movie goes. Is these two guys getting really passionately connected as human beings, in good ways and bad ways.
It's a deceptive film, you know, and sets up archetypes, and you have expectations, and then they fall away.
What's the appeal of Keanu? He's still very young, and he's a big caller.
Keanu makes me think of myself when I was starting out. He's got a real fresh innocence and no sign of doubt or backing up. He's going to try anything that's thrown to him, and that's what I really respect in an artist. The idea and the ability to open up and just be free with yourself.
Reeves interpretó a un agente del FBI. El film y su actuación fueron comentadas por la crítica.
Yeah, he keeps playing those things because that's what he gets cast as, and also because that is part of him, you know. He's a guy that just grew up riding motorcycles and surfing and stuff like that, so he doesn't disavow that.
Keanu tuvo una gran oportunidad en el 91 con su rol del estafador callejero en el film My Own Private Idaho, creando revuelo aún entre los críticos. River Phoenix fue su coprotagonista.
River Phoenix was one of his best friends. He hung around with a group of guys that liked to go to nightclubs and liked to hear music. They drink beer and they had a lot of fun together. And maybe experimented with some drugs.
En una exclusiva con Ned Seaman de la revista Vanity Fair, Keanu admitió haber consumido drogas.
He's odd in that if you ask him, have you ever used drugs, he'll say yes. And if you ask him, do you use drugs now, he'll sort of hedge and say, you know, not nearly as much as I used to, but I'm not going to pretend that I didn't, and I'm not going to lie and say that drugs are bad, and I'm not going to be Nancy Reagan here.
En noviembre de 1993, Keanu volvió al cine con Bram Stoker's Drácula. Este film de gran presupuesto fue dirigido por Francis Ford Coppola y coprotagonizado por Gary Goldman y Anthony Hopkins. Las actuaciones de Goldman y Hopkins fueron geniales, no así la de Keanu.
He accepts the role in Dracula, and then when he sees it, right away he says, I wasn't any good in that.
Keanu buscaba su próximo proyecto cuando una noticia lo paralizó. Su hermana menor, Kim, fue diagnosticada con cáncer.
They're very, very close. In many ways, they're closer to each other than they are to their mother. She's probably the most important person in his life and the person he's closest to. It really is devastating.
Al volver, Keanu reacciona. Más adelante, ¿qué haría si hubiera una bomba en tu autobús?
Disarm the bomb and take care of all his helpless passengers.
Keanu Reeves.